on Mondays, and I was trying to figure out what was the best time to do this live stream, but there's never a good time on a Monday or a Friday. They're the worst days for me. So I just thought I'll just jump on. And if anyone joins on the live stream, then feel free to leave your comments. If you don't get a chance to watch this live stream, then you can always watch the replay. You can leave your comments there. And this is just a topic which has come up. This is something which is probably just ongoing, really, but there's more and more people that are talking about like the pressures that they're facing. And I was going to do it separately, pressures faced by men, pressures on women, but I thought I'll just do a joint one. So I'm just going to look at some of the common pressures that are faced by men and women and what you can do about it, really. So there's two types of pressures that you can have. And one is internal pressure, and that is things that pressure you put on yourself. So these types of things could be pressure that you should get married by a certain age, pressure that you should be living in your own place, pressure that you should be earning a certain amount of money, some of those pressures are coming from yourself, but then you've got external pressure, which are coming from other places. So they're coming from family, from social media, from partners, from society. So they're the main places. There's other places where the pressure is going to come, but these are the ones I'm going to talk about, really, because the impact of having internal or external pressure is really, it can lead to depression, it can lead to just self-comparison and self-doubt. It can lead you to actually taking yourself off the path of where you're going and being distracted by all these pressures, which are really, a lot of them, nothing you can do about. Because if someone has pressure, if someone has an expectation, you can replace the word pressure as well, expectation, on you to have achieved something by a certain age, or to be living in a particular place, or to be driving a particular car, or earning a certain amount of money, that's coming from them. That's got nothing to do with you. If you feed into that pressure and you start to say, okay, well, because I'm not living in a particular place, because I'm not earning a particular amount, or I don't have this status, that makes me less than or feel inferior, then that's down to you allowing those people to put those pressures on you so that you feel that way. Because pressures are never going to stop coming from different directions. Thanks for joining, whoever's joining. So let's just have a little look, first of all, about where some of these pressures are coming from. Then let's look at some of the top ones that come up for lots of people. And then let's look at what you can do about it. So I'm going to try to make it, I don't know how I'm going to do this in like a short period of time, but I'm going to try. That's why I've got notes, to try and keep it succinct. So some of these pressures are coming from, so external pressures coming from family and parents. So the type of pressure you might be getting is, if you get to a certain age, if you're from particular cultures as well in particular, they're going to expect you to move out and live by yourself. They're going to expect you to have a job and be earning certain money. They might expect you to be in a relationship. So in certain cultures, if you get to a certain age, straight away, you're classed as old. If you're 25 and unmarried, you could be classed as old. You know, why have you not married by now? In certain cultures, if you haven't moved out by the time you're sort of 21, hi Rajan, then you're classed as, what are you doing? Why have you not left home? So that type of pressure can lead to anxiety, it can lead to depression. And I've spoke to so many people over the years where that's what it causes. It causes you to feel constantly that you're not good enough. It causes you to feel constantly like your parents are kind of putting, oh, thanks Rajan, they're putting this, just that this heavy burden is always on you because, hi, Marie, thanks for joining. So when it's coming from parents or from family, I think it's like a different sort of pressure, because you always have to be around them all the time. So they're always asking, oh, you're not married yet? Or when are you going to move out, of mum and dad's? Or when are you going to get a job? Or, when are you going to get a different job? When are you going to earn money? So keep pushing, keep grinding, have a positive mindset, never lose focus on your goals, let no one stop you, not haters, just know you've been there, you've got your back. Yeah, oh, that's really good, Marie. So the other type of pressure is social media. This is one that comes up quite a lot. The social media pressure, what people have to understand is it depends on how you view social media. To me, I've been on Facebook since 2009, and I only joined because of pressure, because back then my friend was getting married in Cuba, And everyone was talking about Facebook, and they were all taking these pics and saying, oh, I'm going to post my pics and stuff. And I was the only one that wasn't on Facebook in 2009. So I joined because I just wanted to have somewhere to put my pictures. I see social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, as just a tool. I just see it as just being a place you can either connect with people or a place you can do business. But I'm not influenced by it in the sense of it doesn't matter if I've got 500 friends on there and they've all got something to say, or whether I see 1,000 pictures a day of couples or whatever it is. It's not going to have like a level of impact on me because it's not influencing what I'm doing in my day-to-day life. They're just pictures. I know that that's not easy. I'm not saying that that's easy to do, but what happens is people feel pressure from strangers that are doing things on social media when really you should be thinking to yourself, you're not really, all you're seeing is a snapshot into their life. You don't know these people. And so even the people you do know, you don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. And there's loads of examples I know, even personally, but I've known as well, where what people are presenting is completely different to what their real life is like. I've seen it for myself. So the point is, if you're looking at like social media as being like couples goals, or you're looking at social media and thinking this person is going on holidays all the time, which, yeah, they're the main things people are posting about, you know, their, you saying usually people don't get influenced by social media at a certain age. You'd be surprised, but I think they do. People, it doesn't matter what age. I've worked with quite a lot of people, Rajan, that like are very much influenced by social media. So I think it's about you saying to yourself, why are you feeling so influenced by like a social media platform when it is just it's putting your best foot forward? Even for me, when I've gone on holidays or when I'm only showing like I'm not showing the 3-hour delay in the airport. I'm showing the the fancy beach that I'm lying on or whatever it is. We're all just showing snapshots of the best parts. So that's all you're going to find on social media. So you shouldn't, like, if you can, try to be pressured by it. So I'm going to try to like just do the live stream. And if I see some comments, but I'm not going to be able to reply to all the comments, sorry. Another pressure you can get is from your partner. So that type of pressure might be your partner might be saying to you, you need to get into healthy eating, or you need to lose weight, or you need to gain weight, or you need to have children by this age, or we need to get married, or whatever it is. That can cause people to feel quite pressured. And this can be male or female. So some of these are for men and women. Because if your partner is pressuring you, then there's nowhere to hide, there's nowhere to go. Because if you're in a relationship with someone and all they're constantly doing is saying, you need to be earning more money because so-and-so's husband earns more money, you need to be doing this because so-and-so's wife always looks good in this outfit, or you need to, that can lead you to feeling a bit, that can really hurt for some people because that's your partner and what you want really is support, but they're putting pressure on you. So in that situation, you just have to be really honest. You have to tell that person how it's making you feel, but you have to recognise that their pressures are coming from what they want, but what they want might not be what you want. You might not want to be into fitness. You might not want to be into living in a particular area or whatever it is. I don't know. People are putting, I don't know what that is. I don't know. There's some jokes on there. Don't try and put me off my live stream, please. So pressure from society. That's a big one. And I think that has probably got a lot more influence, even if it's subconscious. So even someone put there that younger people are influenced, but older people are not. And I disagree with that because I think your influence comes from every age. Because in society, if you're part of a society, whether you think that you don't care, you're not bothered what anyone thinks and whatever it is, I don't think that's true, because if that wasn't true, then you wouldn't live amongst other people. You'd go and live like in a forest somewhere, like some people do, and I'll talk about that when we look at like different options for people. Actually, I'm not going to look at that on this video. That would be a different video. being part of society and be sent a sense of belonging is really what most people want, and they pretend that they don't, but that's really what people do want. So therefore you're influenced by society because you want what you don't want to either stand out too much. No one wants to stand out too much where it's like you are completely thank you CB, where you're completely isolated from everyone else because you're too like eccentric, which there's nothing wrong with that in my mind, but the majority of people don't want that. But you also, some people either want to belong, but then they're not able to. So then they just say to themselves, well, I don't want to belong anyway. You've put something wanted to live in a forest isolated. Yeah. So you can take yourself, yes, you can take yourself out of society altogether. But so the pressure from society is just this pressure of keeping you in check. It's almost like a control thing. So some people would almost treat it as being, if you're part of a community or part of society and you do something which is like outside of the norm, the pressure will be get back in the box. What are you doing? Oh, good example. This is a massive, massive, massive example. If you go on Instagram and Facebook, one of the biggest things that comes up, especially for women, is being a certain age. Women are not supposed to wear short skirts. I'm subscribed, or I follow quite a lot of channels actually of like women who are just showing fashion and stuff, but the hate that they get if there's a woman over 40 and she's wearing a short skirt, or if women wear their hair in a particular way. So that's another pressure. The top pressures, let's talk at some of these pressures, is one of them is pressure to work in a particular job. So that pressure can come from some of the places we've talked about. It can come from family. If all of your family have been doctors, you're going to have pressure to become a doctor or a lawyer. Loads of parents have a belief that they've had before you've even been born as a child, that they want you to become a doctor because they have beliefs that being a doctor means you're going to earn good money, you're going to have a good reputation in the community, they're going to be able to boast to their friends that you're a doctor. And I get it, because do you think Stoicism is go for this? Stoicism isn't really related to this, because being stoic just means that you think in a different way, but it's not related to this. So that pressure to do a particular job, that can come from yourself as well. You can think, if I become a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher, then people are going to view me in a particular way. My parents are going to be proud of me, and that sort of thing. So that is a big, big pressure that people face, men or women. So if you then don't achieve that thing that you feel is a massive pressure, it can lead you to depression, it can lead you to feel anxious, it can lead you to feel isolated, because you can feel that you haven't achieved the thing that everyone is expecting you to achieve. And especially if, say, you've gone to university or you've studied, or you've been that person that has always been, not bragging, but everyone has had that pressure on you saying you're going to become the top person, in our class, you're going to become the top person in our community, then you can feel like you've let people down or let yourself down. And that's not the case. But it's the pressure that's going to make you feel that way, because everyone's expectations from when you were a young child were that you were going to become this or become that. So it can lead to a real sense of like feeling bad about yourself. So you've put, some people use depression as an excuse to avoid responsibilities. Not really. No, I don't believe that at all. So the next one is the next pressure, and this is to do with men and women, but in different ways, is your physical shape or your weight. So the amount of pressure on men and women, for men, it's more of like your like muscular men, or, to have a certain physique. I don't think it's as much pressure as women to like have a certain body shape. I'd say that there is still a lot of, there's a lot less talk about men who struggle with body dysmorphia, anorexia, that sort of thing. It's always usually the focus is on women a lot more, but there are a lot of men that really struggle, because if you're born a particular shape, and no matter what you do, you go to the gym, and that could be men or women, or you eat certain foods, but you still can't get the shape that you want. You feel it yourself, because you just feel like no matter what I do, nothing's working. But also society is just, this is probably one of the biggest things that they focus on a lot, is someone's shape, someone's physique. And then if you're going on social media as well and you're seeing people who've got really good bodies, and then if you're seeing people who've had like cosmetic procedures, you're seeing people like with their tops off, especially men. Women normally it's like that, obviously they're wearing something. If you're seeing all sorts of things, people are so like influenced by not only celebrities, but then you're also influenced by seeing all of these what you would consider as perfect bodies. You can then be comparing yourself to that, and that's where the pressure comes in. Right, I need to be in the gym 7 days a week so I can get a body like that. I need to go and get a cosmetic procedure so that I can have, like, you know, a bum like that. I need to, and it's pointless, because as we said, we don't know people's journey. We don't know what's led them to think that way. But also, if you keep like falling to pressure, I have to do this, I have to have this job, then I have to have this car, then I have to have this body, and all the rest of it. You're not really living your life, you're living someone else's life, because all these things are influencing you to make decisions that are not really what you want. You just think that that's what you need to do. So another big pressure, and there's loads, I could go into more detail, but I'm just trying to get through the things that I've put, is this is more on women really, to be like sexy and to be feminine. And there's so much talk and so much misinformation about what is sexy, what is masculine, what is feminine. We've all got a bit of masculine, feminine within us as human beings. Men don't want to kind of sometimes tap into their like feminine side, because even the word, when you say to a man feminine side, I would probably use the word gentle side. You can still be gentle and still be dominant. You can still be masculine and still be like warm, empathic. You can still cry as a man. You can still do certain things. But I think society conditions men to be a certain way. And then men think they have to be that way. Because if you was to speak to lots of different men and ask them what is a man, lots of them would probably come up with, or what is it like being a man, the same things, but not because they feel that that's who they are, but they feel like they won't be accepted in society if they said, oh, well, sometimes, you know, I would do something gentle and something kind, but then I'm going to look looked on as being weak and that sort of thing. And it's the same with women. What is sexy? What is feminine? You know, I believe that I'm quite a dominant, sometimes quite opinionated, but then obviously I'm a counsellor, so I've got the empathic side. I'd say I'm quite gentle as well, quite emotional. I'm not emotional meaning I'm out of touch with my emotions, but I'm in tune with my emotions. I think like knowing who you are as a person, but also not rejecting parts of who you are, is the way forward. Because if you're quite a strong woman, but you're saying to yourself, I don't want to show this strong side of me because then I'm going to be considered as being masculine, or to be sexy I need to like just wear certain outfits, or to be sexy I need to wear my hair in a certain way or dress a certain way. And sexy can be loads of things. You can be completely covered up, you can have no hair or short hair, you can have no makeup or lots of makeup. Sexiness to me isn't like to do with anything to do with mostly what you look like. That is beauty, that is being pretty, but being sexy is a feeling. You can see a sexy person just by how they walk before they've even said anything. Someone can be sexy through how they talk. Someone can be sexy because of how they just do something. So I think we need to stop like letting society and other people dictate what is sexy, what's masculine, what's feminine. We need to just decide for ourselves. You know, it's really interesting because even yesterday I saw, obviously Sam Smith has got his own, he wants to be regarded as, not he, because they, so, you know, that's how they want to be known. But when Harry Styles was wearing dresses on front of magazines, everyone was all for it, everyone was fine. But then when Sam Smith is doing certain things, everyone is kind of properly giving him hate and saying, you know, oh, he's a weirdo and blah, blah, blah. And I used to like him and he needs help and he needs therapy. And that's just how society is. One person, same as with, like, as I've said, with women, one woman might be wearing really skinny or might be wearing a certain outfit and then they're getting hate. You know, Victoria Beckham, hate. You know, you've got some sort of eating disorder. Another woman, exactly the same weight, but just because that person might be held in different regard, held up as being, you know, wonderful and, you know, all the rest of it. That's why you can't just go with what society is telling you or but what one person is telling you. You have to do what suits you. So other pressures, so I'm not going to be able to go through all of them, is to be in a particular, as I've said, be in a particular house, drive a particular car, get married, have children by a certain age. There's lots of beauty standards. They're mostly on women, you know, of what is and what isn't beautiful, which is just subjective because it's the same as a painting. You can have a painting which someone has taken hours to do, which will go for sale at like £1 million or whatever it is. But if you put 100 people in front of that painting, not all of them are going to say that it's fantastic. Some people are going to say this is beautiful work of art. Other people are going to say, what is that? That is rubbish. It's the same as beauty. And I don't know when or how someone somewhere decided this is like beautiful and this is not unattractive. This is, you know, masculine. This is feminine. This is what like a real man should be doing. This is what a woman should be doing. But we're just going along with it. And that's the one thing we need to do is stop going along with it. Stop allowing other people to dictate. Because we don't all see things through the same eyes. So what's beautiful to one person isn't going to be beautiful to the next. I mean, there is exceptions to that because if there's usually, if someone's like a supermodel and like the majority of the world will be just like, yes, there's certain features, certain things that makes this person beautiful. But in most cases, it's just personal opinion. So what I'd say to people is, why are you letting personal opinion allow you to feel pressure? Why are you at 29 saying, well, before 30, I need to get married? Because where's that coming from? Why are you saying I need to be a doctor, I need to be a lawyer, even though that's not what you want to do? Really, you want to be a writer or an artist. So it's about understanding where this pressure is coming from. Is it internal? Is it external? And why are we going along with it? Not we, because I don't allow pressure to dictate what I do in my life. So another thing is, let's see, so we've looked at some of these things that are, another pressure that's on men is to be a protector and a provider. And this can start off small. So this can start off with, I mean, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I have to question and say, is it fair for me to think that if I go on a date with someone that they have to pay for the meal? You know, because that is still pressure. Where's that come from and why do I think that way? So I then have to think, okay, well, am I attributing someone paying for the meal when I go out for a meal as a gentlemanly thing to do? But then what if someone doesn't pay for the meal? Am I saying they're not a gentleman? I have to question my own beliefs and my own values as well. But a lot of times there are certain people I know that don't believe in the idea of 50-50 with anything. There are certain people I know that would say men have to pay for everything, that a man's role is to work. I can sit at home, not me, you know, I can sit at home and get whatever I want. You have to think about that. If you're then with a woman that believes that, but you're not in a position where you can fulfill that, what do you then do? Some men are very miserable and very, when I say miserable, not meaning that they're grumpy, they're miserable, unhappy, that's the right word, not miserable, unhappy, because they're with people who are beautiful and they were attracted to them and they didn't know they were high maintenance, and then they've got together with them, they've got married, now they've got kids, and now that's it. Your life is that you're spending £500 to £1,000 a month on your wife's nails, hair, aesthetics. They're sitting at home and you're having to go out and have free jobs and earn this money. And really deep down, they know deep down this is just too much. But then they think, well, what can I do now? It's too late now, you know. I can't change it. And what we have to think about really is, do you want to just be under this level of pressure all your life, or do you want to do something? So let's talk about what you can do about it. The first thing is to recognize and accept your unique self. You're on your own journey. No one else can dictate to you what is the right thing to do. No one else can say, well, this is what you need to do by a particular age, or this is what you need to do because you're a man or you're a woman. People can say that, but you don't have to go along with it. I've lived my life. Luckily, I've had parents that have taught us that you're on your own journey. I've always been told not to compare yourself to anyone else. That's one of my dad's biggest lessons, was to us, don't covet. He said, don't covet what other people have. He says, if you see a person over the street and they're wearing jewelry, or they've got a big car, or they've got a house, don't believe everything you see. It doesn't mean that this person is rich. You don't know where it's come from. That's what we were taught. We were taught from really young age, not to look at what other people are doing. Just focus on yourself. So that's what we all need to do. You know, you're unique in your own way. If you want to be a woman that is very strong, very dominant, be that woman. If you want to be a man that wants to show their feminine side, I keep using that, show their softer side, do that. You know, if you want to be someone that says, I don't want to get married, don't get married. If you want to be someone that says, I want to own a house by a certain age, do that. But figure out where it's coming from. Is it coming from all of these people and all of these places telling you should do it? Or is it coming from what you really want to do? So the second one is to stop comparing yourself, which is similar to what I've just said, really. It's a pointless thing to do, to compare yourself to other people. We're unique, you know. If life would be really boring if everyone was just the same and everyone was acting the same and doing the same thing? Why can't we just say that just because that person over there is doing that, well, good luck to them, you know, let them do what they want to do. I don't think I've ever woken up and said, oh, because the media is saying that all women should do this, or because so-and-so over the road has got this, or never in my life. I don't think I've ever been, it's just not part of who I am as a person. And it's not even just come from like being what I've grown up with. It's because what's the point? If I wish to be Rihanna, do you know what I mean? Or I'll go to sleep at night and go, oh, I wish I had this, or I wish I had this. It's not going to happen. And what's the point in me doing that? I even thought, as I was growing up, I used to say that. I used to be, what would it feel like to be in someone else's shoes? And then straight away I thought, well, then I wouldn't be Marianne. Then I wouldn't have my life. And I think we just need to own our journey and own who we are and say to ourselves, I'm happy with who I am. And if I'm not happy with it, we can change things about ourselves that we're not happy with. But don't allow society to try to get us that anxious, that stressed, that we're trying constantly to be something that we don't want to be. So the third thing is, I think I've already covered it. Think about whether you're doing something because you want to or the external pressures. Always stop and think when you're going to make a decision. Is this really what I want? Or is this just because everyone else says? I've done this a few times in my life. So when I was considering going on holiday, every time I'm considering going on holiday, I think, do I really want to go there? Or am I just going there because everyone on Instagram is talking about the Maldives? That was a good example, because the Maldives and Bali are two places that I keep going back and forth with. Because do I really want to go there? Or am I just going there because I know that it's going to look good on the vlogs? Because everyone on Instagram is always talking about Bali and Maldives. And do you know what? They're not two countries that I really want to go to. And it took me a while to think, why am I looking at these countries when they're not countries I'm interested in going to? It's because I'm so influenced by seeing pictures of Bali, pictures of Maldives, seeing all the vlogs. So sometimes we have to stop and think, is it just what we're used to seeing? Are we used to seeing so many people with certain body shapes that now there's so much like a rise in cosmetic surgery? Does everyone think they have to have like a big booty? I'm not using the American term, a big bum. So, you know, years ago, you wouldn't be like looking at someone's bum and then be thinking, oh, you know, I need to go and get what they call BBLs or whatever they're called, butt injections. But now it's like if you don't have that shape, for some women, they're going to feel insecure. I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, that's another story. So let me move on to the final thing, is to create your own path and your own plan. I was speaking to one of my clients today and we were talking about this idea of doing a blueprint, like in the film King Richard, which is about Venus and Serena Williams. And I think I made a video about this on my channel. So when he sat down and he made this blueprint, I think it was 54 pages or something, about how his daughters were going to become the best in the world, how they were going to earn a certain amount of money, what it would take to get them there. He didn't sit there and think, well, I'm living in Compton, we've got no money, we've getting like, it's a rough area, you know, we can't do this, we can't do that. He didn't care about any of that stuff. If you have a vision, you don't care what's going on around you in society. You don't care what other people are saying. You're working on your blueprint. And that's what I sort of want to leave people with, really. Don't get caught up in all of this nonsense that's happening. Don't be so focused on who's in government. Don't be focused on, you know, what other people are doing. This is the biggest thing for me. I can't remember the guy that was a prime minister. What's Rishi, whatever his name was. There was him, he was Conservative. Before him, I can't remember who, was it Liz Truss? I can't remember, because you know what, I don't even watch the news. And if I know who's Prime Minister, because obviously I need to know because I live in this country, there's not one single thing that they've put in place, any of these Prime Ministers, and I'd say for probably the last 20 years, that has had a personal impact on my life enough for me to blame the government for like certain things. There's things that have happened in, like, we've got rents going up. There's things that have happened with the economy, which are going to keep happening no matter who's in government. But this is what I'm trying to say to people. Create your own path, your own plan. Stop using external factors to say that you can't. Because it doesn't matter if we have another government tomorrow. I'm not bringing politics into this. It doesn't matter if, you know, you make certain decisions. Someone somewhere is always going to have a problem with it. Your parents are going to have a problem if you decide to do certain things. Your partner might have a problem if you decide to do something. You know, your neighbour might have a problem if you decide to do something. We can't live our life based on what other people are telling us. External factors and also pressures that you're bringing to yourself. Create your path, create the blueprint, and then just go for it and then get what you need to get. There's nothing that can stand in your way if you've got your blueprint and you say, this is what I'm going to do. The thing that's standing in people's way is distractions. All of these things are distractions because you're saying, oh, I can't do this because I'm too old. I can't do this because I'm too young. I can't do this because I've got a certain, you know, skin colour. I can't do this because I'm a woman. I can't do this because I'm a man. I can't do this because of the government or the economy. If you stop saying all the reasons you can't do something, and you say, well, I'm going to do it anyway, because this is what I've chosen to do, then nothing and no one can get in your way. So I think I'll leave it there, because I think I could probably talk about this for another 2 hours, but I hope you found it useful. And it's just about, you know, we've all got pressures, men, women, children, adults, always pressures are coming from somewhere. But what we need to do is to reduce that pressure and to not allow the pressure to become so much that it causes us to feel depressed, causes us to feel anxious. We just need to form our own path and go on it. So I hope you found this video useful. Thank you to everyone that joined. I can just see things about, oh my gosh, all sorts of political things on there. I can see someone asking about, do I wear a chain every day? I wear a necklace every day, yeah. Anyway, all the comments I'll have to come back to later. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next Monday. Thanks for joining, everyone. Bye.